I'm Gizmo. I got a relative. Guess Eric. Ooh, let the birds out. Chirp, 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 chirp. Ooh. Kind of handsome, just like I remember.
The African great parrot is what comes to mind as a Nigerian when you think of a parrot. Wisecracking, they mimic, they are sometimes rude, but that really just depends on who their speech is based off of. And for that, most times, it's usually why they're really popular, or the parrot itself is really popular, because of that speech pattern. And because it's so pretty, it gets, trafficked pretty much almost every year, about tens and thousands of them from Nigeria and from the Republic of Congo. And because of how badly it's been trafficked, and they die, it's not even just that they get trafficked and not even up to like 40% of them, even 60% of them make it throughout the process. And because of how, they're being battered and sold, their conservation status is actually set at endangered. So these birds are actually endangered, and they're actually funds and active conservation efforts made by the government of the Democratic Republic of Congo. I'm just going to start calling them DRC because I cannot, it's a tongue twister for me right now. DRC, and then also in Nigeria as well. So here are a couple of interesting facts you would like about the African grey parrot. They don't have sexual dimorphism. So sexual dimorphism, in layman's terms, is that the male looks different from the female. A very easy off-the-top example would be the peacock. The peacock is actually a boy. He needs to be as pretty as possible to get any of the ladies, which are actually the brown ones, interested in him in the first place. That's sexual dimorphism. And the African grey parrot actually doesn't have that. All of them come in grey and red, making it a little difficult, and you need to look under the hood to try and figure out, is this a boy or is this a girl? I know from experience that handling them is not the best thing. Removing from color, their beaks are so strong that if they really mean you, they will break your finger. It's not a joke. It's really not, because you need like leather gloves, like thick leather gloves, to even pick them up, because if they mean you, and they usually don't like being touched, if they mean you properly, they will break your finger. So the younger ones tend to have dark grey eyes, which then evolve into yellow, which is the sign of that, oh, they've matured. They are considered to be one of the most intelligent animals on the planet, with the spatial reasoning and the logical reasoning of that of a 5-year-old, a 3 to 5-year-old. Most times they're not usually good at word association or word association with the word. They're not good at complex reasoning. They will say the word, but most times they don't know why they're saying it. You enter a room and they'll tell you hello, but it's because they've associated the pattern of anytime anybody enters the room, the word to say is hello. That's why that happened. And for some birds, when taught properly, can actually draw up complex things and actually understand why they're saying these words. There are a couple of them on TikTok off the top of my head. Can't remember his name.
What's this called?
It's a rag.
What color?
Purple.
What's this called?
Paper. Bag.
What's this called?
Box.
I guess it is a box in a way. It's a block.
In those situations, he's been able to teach his parrot using I'm assuming he's using Dr. Pepperberg's experiments model to teach the parrot terms or complex meanings behind the things that are done. And it's fascinating how much they can learn. There's a parrot called Nkisi. I'm pretty sure it's Kosa, I just can't remember, I don't know how to pronounce it properly, who has an extensive vocabulary of at least 950 words, and he's able to concoct new terms for himself. Craziest part is this prized skill that they are so exchanged for is not even their base form. That's the best way I can describe it. It's not their base form. In the wild, their skills are used for mimicking other birds and other things, but not human beings. It's part of their biology, so they feel that being able to mimic other birds or how their group members or their flock members provides some degree of unity, or they feel like they belong. Which is why, at about 12 to 18 months, if a parrot has enough contact with human beings to start to mimic human speech, because it has identified that the human beings that it lives with are its flock now. So if it wants to fit in, kind of like peer pressure, but if it wants to fit in, it needs to be able to speak, or it needs to be able to mimic human speech and speak as well, which is why most of them do it. Usually, surprisingly, they live for about 60 years if you leave them alone in captivity. But in the wild, their chances are a little lower because there's predators, there's human beings trying to take them and keep them in their households, and that usually slashes their life expectancy to about a third. It's about 23 years. It's not the best thing. The problem is that because they have the mind of a toddler and they need to be stimulated, there's nothing you can do about it. They need mental stimulation every single day, and if you're not giving it to them, they will start to self-mutilate. There's not the other term, it is self-mutilation. They will pluck feathers off of their body, they will injure themselves, they will do things that are typically called stereotypies, which is not normal behavior, but it's behavior that has been developed and become a habit because they're not getting enough mental stimulation. So if anybody is getting a parrot, I don't even advise that you get an African grey parrot. Don't get one. They're fine where they are. They are currently endangered. If you intend to be a breeder, you need to give them enough stimulation. And then there are a couple of places here in Nigeria that I know work as conservation sanctuaries and places that take care of these birds. One of them is Green Fingers. It is somewhere in Sangotedo in Lagos. There's St. Mark's Animal Hospital and Shelter where I did my IT during COVID. I know that if you want to see one African grey parrot in person, one that actually talks, he might not talk to you guys. He's a little shy. There's one in the University of Ibadan's zoological garden, who, when you're coming in the morning, sometimes, it's not all the time, sometimes will tell you, good morning, or hello. But you need to say hello back to him. If not, he's not gonna reply. And then sometimes he will say in pidgin, like, how far? Or how is walk, to the person that's coming to feed him in the morning. I don't know how old that parrot is. It's been there for ages. I remember going to see the parrot when I was a kid, and I'm currently like 20 something now, and that parrot is still there. That shows you how long they actually do live for them. The references for everything I used, this is not my own research. Well, I researched the information to give to you guys, but the information I got from where I sourced the information from, the articles, the papers, they will all be linked in the description below. So yes. Thank you for watching. I will try and see if I can get these videos out like every other week, or maybe every week. I don't know, I'll figure it out. I do enjoy doing research, so to me it really isn't much of a problem. So thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.